Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. My name is Ahmed or Big Ak, and welcome to today's video. This is the second time I am recording this video, unfortunately. Earlier today, I had this video recorded. It was 19 minutes of content about Mr. Donald Trump here, and I posted the video. I guess there was an update in the recording software that I recorded, and for some reason my microphone wasn't picking up my audio, and when I uploaded it I didn't realize, and yeah, the whole video was just mute, so I'm gonna have to re-record this video. I'm gonna try to make it way shorter than I did earlier, so we're gonna go ahead and get right into this. I'm only gonna react to around 2 minutes and 50 seconds of what Donald Trump has to say here. This is the Donald Trump interview with NBC News. This is called Meet the Press. Donald Trump has been going under some pretty heavy indictments and hasn't been able to go and debate in the presidential debates with the other candidates and things like that. He's been in court and he's been dealing with some other things. They've been trying to keep him out of the loop as much as possible as these other guys speak and get those votes and get those not votes, but get their support, while Donald Trump is just kind of on the side. So this is an interview from about a month ago. We're going to go ahead and see what he has to say. He makes some pretty good points. We're only going to go about 2 minutes in because Donald Trump is a very, very, very... He drops bombs, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything he says, like, this guy's a character. So, I mean, we can talk about one sentence that he says for a good amount of time. Let's hop right into it and see what's going on.
President Trump, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
I want to dive right into this. A lot to get to.
Good.
There are a number of things that make your campaign...
You know what's funny, too? Is, like, I really wonder, like, when... You know, like newscasters and people, how they have like a specific voice, like that journalist voice. And like, you see her face, like the facial expressions she's making. I really wonder if like she goes home and like practices these faces and mannerisms in the mirror. Like, I really want to know, because it's like really robotic. There's no way she goes out like, you know, to dinner and she talks like this and looks like this when she's having a normal conversation. I'm just saying, like, I find it funny. Like, it's so obvious how like fake it is. You know what I'm saying?
Unprecedented. You are the...
And this is also very, very good, guys. We need to react to stuff like this. We need to see stuff like this. As an American citizen, you need to be worried about your own country. I'm going to tell you this right now. I honestly don't think it matters who the president is. I think this is all a game and a joke to divide people and get people, you know, choosing sides and going against each other. Like, literally during election time, I literally see brothers hating each other. I see family members deleting each other off Facebook because this guy's voting for this guy and this guy's voting for this guy. It's literally sickening. Like, you guys are Americans. You're supposed to be able to talk about different beliefs and different views and different values, and then you guys are supposed to come together as a collective and make it happen, right? And it's okay if this guy believes something different, this guy believes something different, this guy doesn't want something different. But it's funny how you're this guy's best friend for 4 years, and then this guy's like, I like Donald Trump. You're like, oh, F you, I hate you, you're the worst. So this is important. We need to talk about stuff like this.
Former president to run for re-election in more than 100 years. You are facing 4 indictments. You have an incredibly significant lead in the GOP primary polls. But I want to ask you this, Mr. President. Why do you want to be president again?
Well, it's a very simple answer, and I can give it
Make America Great Again.
Very easily. It's called Make America Great Again. Our country is in serious trouble. I don't think we've ever been so low in terms of certainly opinion, world opinion, and country opinion. People are devastated. They look at what's happening with millions of people coming in, millions of illegal immigrants coming into our country, flooding our cities, flooding the countryside. I think the number is going to be 15 million people by the time you end this. By the end of this year, I think the real number is going to be 15 million people. They come from prisons. They come from mental institutions, insane asylums. They say, sir, please don't use that term, but it's true. They're terrorists at a level. It was very interesting. On NBC, I saw a poll, and I saw some statistics, and it said in 2019, there were no terrorists. They caught no terrorists. There was nothing that they saw. There was no anything. And now, this year, it's a record number like they've never seen before. So we did a great job at the border. We did a great job with the military. We did a great job with inflation. We had essentially no inflation. We had a great economy. And we didn't have an Afghanistan disaster. We were getting out, but we were going to get out with dignity and pride, not the way they got out. That was a surrender and an embarrassment and horrible. We gave inflation. We had essentially no inflation. We had a great economy. We were and horrible.
So he's talking about immigration. He's talking about how a lot of people over the last couple of years, over Joe Biden's ruling, we had a lot of immigrants coming in. Out of those immigrants, a lot of these immigrants that were coming in were very radical, and they were bad for our country and bad for our economy. So when Donald Trump first came out and he was like, let's build a wall, let's build a wall, I'm going to make Mexico pay for it. People are like, you're a racist, you suck, you stink. But in essence, if you guys understood what happens through these borders, like, people don't just like cross borders because, you know, they're oppressed or they're refugees. People cross borders because the government wants to arrest them because they're wanted. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like, if I was wanted in Mexico or wanted in Brazil or wanted in Canada, I'm going to make my way to the United States of America. How is the government of Mexico going to get me in America, right? Especially when I'm illegal, right? I don't have a visa. I don't have a passport. I don't have a social security number. I don't work in the United States of America legally. I'm taking cash. So it's like, how are these countries, how are the governments going to even be able to funnel or maintain these people? They're not paying tax. They're not doing anything in a proper way. They're not maintaining our economy, but they're living within it. And a lot of these people, like he's saying, can be very easily criminals. Yes, we understand there is immigrants. Yes, we understand there's people going through things. Yes, we understand that there's refugees and there's many things like this. But when you're taking in these people, there's a process, right? There's a process. There's questionnaires. You're registered. You register yourself. You work. And these things, you build trust with the country that you're trying to move into and be in. But the problem is so many people are coming into the United States of America. They're not building trust with the American financial system and government. They're invisible. They're ghosts. And they're not just invisible and ghosts. They have felony charges in other countries, and they've come to the United States of America to get away from that. So that is a very, very big problem, and he's talking about this, and literally Joe Biden doesn't give a flying crap about this. He wants that to happen. It produces more money. It produces more issues.
Gave 85, got out. That was a surrender and an embarrassment and horrible. We gave $85 billion worth of equipment to the Taliban. We had death, so much death and so much horrible destruction. And it was a terrible thing. I think it was the lowest point in the history of our country. Now, with all of that, we can change it and we can make America great again. And that's why I'm doing this. Well,
the point he made about Afghanistan is insanely important, guys, and I need you to listen to this. I need you to listen to this. If you do not understand how much money and what America has done in the Middle East over the last 30 to 40 years, especially from 9/11 on, like, you need to understand what your president just did in the last year. Your president, Joe Biden, pulled out all of the troops from Afghanistan. Mr. Joe Biden, right? The United States of America deployed troops in Afghanistan a while back to go ahead and help the militia groups in Afghanistan fight Russia out, because the United States didn't want Russia inside of Afghanistan, seizing Afghanistan or taking over, because they didn't want Russia pushing into the Middle East and having, military bases and things like this. So the United States came into Afghanistan and started funding these militia groups to fight Russia out. These militia groups formed into the Taliban. They are the Taliban that we know today. So the United States went into Afghanistan and funded the Taliban to fight Russia. After Russia was defeated, right, and got pushed out, the Taliban, because they have a bunch of United States military-grade weapons, and no one's there to stop them, they took those weapons and they took their political power that they had, and they went ahead and seized the whole entire Afghanistan, okay? What did the United States do? They said, oh crap, we created a problem. We created a terrorist group in the Middle East that's running around and terrorizing everyone. How do we fix this? Let's fund another militia called Al-Qaeda to help destroy this country and help fight the militia group over here. So what does the United States do? They fund Al-Qaeda. They fund these other terrorist groups who become terrorist groups. And now you have two terrorist groups with two separate missions to divide and conquer, working at the same time. Where did ISIS come from? Whose weapons is ISIS using? is ISIS. Well, ISIS was created, it was a militant group that was created to take out the Syrian government, to take out the power of the Syrian government and destroy the Syrian country, to push them out, to cause havoc. The United States funded every single weapon, every single bullet that came out of ISIS's weapons. This is insane. People do not know this. Just to let you guys know something, the United States funds Israel $8 billion a year in military aid. The United States of America, Mr. Joe Biden, just left $85 billion in weaponry in Afghanistan for the Taliban. $85 billion. That's 11 years of Israel's military aid from the United States. They just left on the ground and dipped out and left there for the Taliban in the middle of Afghanistan. $85 billion. No care, no worry, just pull out. Who cares what the consequence is? Who cares what happens? And you guys want to talk about funding terrorism? You want to talk about, oh my God, 18 Arab countries funded $2 billion to Hamas over the last 20 years. The United States literally just handed $85 billion to the Taliban last year and walked away. You want to talk about terrorist organizations and funding terrorism? Look at your own government. Look at your own country. Wake up. If you think I trust Donald Trump, I don't trust Donald Trump either. Donald Trump is not someone to be trusted. He's not someone with that is like gonna actually make America great again, like his slogan says. I think it's all a political game at the end of the day, and I think no matter what, the guys with the black suits, you know what I'm saying, the men in black are always gonna make the decisions. Like the president's never gonna be stronger than the people who own the world banks or the world transportation systems or literally control the world's economies. Like, if you really think the president of the United States is stronger than, like, the CEO of Apple, like, you got it all wrong. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. There's people way more powerful than the president that make these calls and change these laws and push things into place. Donald Trump is just an image. These people, these politicians, are for you to be divided. It's for you to be divided. Donald Trump is more of the guy who just says it how it is what it is. He doesn't care. He has a bunch of haters, and he's going to bring out those type of people. And Joe Biden is a ditz, and he does whatever. He doesn't care about anything. He's just free and, you know, gay rights and all this stuff. And, you know, he just doesn't care about, and he's going to bring those people out, right? And just depending on who sides with what, these people, these politicians that get up on stage and they go, hoorah, hoorah, in their way, they're going to bring those people who relate to them out the most. You get what I'm saying? Like, I would probably relate to Donald Trump the most because even if I disagree with everything Donald Trump says, it's the way he says it. He just says it. He just blatantly tells you how it is. And, like, I can deal with something like that, right? I can deal with someone who's transparent. Like, he's not lying to my face. He's literally telling me, I hate you. And I'm like, cool, you hate me? I hate you too. What are we going to do about it? So that's why I resonate more, or I enjoy listening more to Donald Trump himself when he speaks, because he's more direct and he just tells it how it is, right? And I'd rather have someone like that telling me what's going on than someone who's always beating around the bush, someone who can't finish a sentence, someone who's trying to play some political game. Like, Donald Trump doesn't give a crap about money. He doesn't give a crap about this stuff because he already has it. He's already won the game. He's already playing the game. You know, he has his family in place. He has everything in place. So, I don't know. I like this guy the most. And Afghanistan is messed up, bro. Afghanistan is messed up. Go look what the United States of America did to Iraq. Weapons of mass destruction went into Iraq, hung the president of Iraq, publicly hung him on television, and then go, there's no weapons of mass destruction. We just killed 1 million Iraqis and withdrew. You did such a great job in the Middle East, the United States of America, and Joe Biden, you're doing a great job on just finalizing it. Like, literally, just finalize it, bro. Literally, just, why don't you go and give $85 billion to Al-Qaeda, and give $85 billion to Hamas, and give $85 billion to ISIS, and give $85 billion, you know, and go start a new terrorist group too. Since you don't care, since you just create terrorist groups and then fund them, and then blame the Middle East and Islam and Arabs for all of it, I just like, it's literally mind blowing. It's literally
Well,
mind
and
blowing.
you have talked about a lot. We are going to delve into a number of the issues you brought up. You talked about all the people coming across the border. Of course, a lot of families also coming across the border as
Sure.
well. I want to talk to you about that a little bit later on. But first, let's talk about the breaking news today. We learned just a short time ago that the president's son, Hunter Biden, was indicted by a federal grand jury on 3 gun charges. Given that, Mr. President, can you continue to say that there are 2 systems of justice?
Well, I think there's no question about it. He had a plea deal that was the deal of the century, the art of the deal. You could write a book on it. The art of the
See, this is what I like. The art of the deal. You could write a book on it. Like his sarcasm and it's just funny. I'm gonna end it right here. I'm gonna talk about this real quick. She asked him essentially, trying to get him like, hey, you were saying that, the justice system, there's 2 justice systems. There's one justice system where when you're like rich and powerful, you can just pay off the judge and then there is no justice. And then there's the actual justice system where people have to pay for their crimes. So that's what Trump is saying exists, especially in the world of Hunter Biden. Okay? So what she's saying is now Hunter Biden he's being convicted for 3 gun charges, right? And she's saying they're coming down hard on him. Do you still believe that there's 2 justice systems? Like even though they're coming down on Hunter Biden this hard and they're coming after him and they're trying to prosecute him, do you still think there's 2 different justice systems? And Donald Trump says, yeah, nothing changed, right? This guy got the plea deal of a century. The thing is, like, they found drugs and all types of stuff in the White House, bro. And this is stuff that falls under President Joe Biden, too. Like, President Joe Biden is going to be tried for that kind of stuff. So when he's saying he got the deal of the century, that means, like, they literally limited his deal to the lowest amount of something so that the public would be happy that he got tried for anything. And this guy's going to get off. He's going to get, like, minimal time, minimal payment, minimal sentence, and he's just going to get off. And the things that they're charging him for aren't going to fall back on Joe Biden. And they should fall back on Joe Biden because these things were happening at the White House. He was making deals with using his dad's name and using his dad's publicity and his power to make deals with other countries and do other things that is completely illegal. And Joe Biden has reduced these sentences and is focusing on only like these gun charges and throwing all of that like, oh, it's just Hunter. But Joe Biden is a part of this crap. And Joe Biden needs to be prosecuted as well. He needs to be put right in place. Bro, that's his son. His son's doing this in front of him. With Joe Biden knowing his son's doing all this, he's allowing it to happen. He's bringing it into the White House. And like, yeah, there's 2 different justice systems. Anyways, if you guys want to watch this video, links down in the description. It is 1 hour and 18 minutes long. Donald Trump is an interesting character. Even if you don't agree with what he says, it's an entertaining watch. This guy's an entertaining person. He might piss you off. He might bother you and whatnot. You might think he's racist and he's hateful and he's whatever. But to be completely honest with you, 90% of the people who come into my comment section and start tearing me apart about what I say and talk about my prophet and talk about my religion are 10 times more racist and disrespectful than this guy ever will be. I'll tell you that right now. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming in. God bless you all. Hopefully the audio worked this time. And until next time, peace and blessings and free Palestine. Bye-bye.